What I can tell you is that it's going to be an interesting fight. I think we've got dynamics. You've got Gervonta, who's probably going to be angry, probably woken up, probably more focused than he has been. Not talking about retirement. That's a fact.
Bad night. I look for a tough fight in the next fight, but I still see Gervonta winning. I think Gervonta will win it a little easier this time. But Roach is a heck of a fighter. He's going to give everybody a hard. Anybody that fights is going to give a hard time. But I do think that Davis had an off night.
What does the rematch look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that.
Tank has issued a stern warning to Lamont Roach ahead of their rematch. In a recent interview from his training camp, Tank made it clear that not even the referee will be able to save Roach this time. He believes it's only a matter of time before the hype surrounding Roach fades. Known for never holding back against his opponents, Tank is confident he's coming for the win. While Roach may have impressed the crowd in their first encounter, Davis is determined to make the rematch a definitive statement, a brutal end to any questions about his dominance.
We did how many rounds? We fight there. We fight Jesus Christ.
But you in the back for about 8 too?
Yeah.
You got that shit.
Yeah. Three guys.
One boxer who will be keeping a close eye on this rematch is undefeated WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson, as he could potentially face the winner of Davis versus Roach II. Stevenson, known for his sharp counter-punching and high ring IQ, has a long-standing rivalry with Tank Davis. In a recent interview with Fight Hub TV, he sent a blunt message to Davis about how he should handle the upcoming
Rematch look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that. He was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style with Tank's style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it. So
Did you really win 20 rounds?
I swear to God, on my daughter's life, I won that much money.
How different does a rematch look in your opinion?
It's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont, Stevenson said when asked about how Davis might fare in the rematch. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left for Davis, so he'd better be on his A-game. It's a rare moment of public concern from Stevenson, who usually speaks with calm confidence about his own ability to handle the best in the division. For Stevenson, seeing Davis falter against Roach would open the door to a major showdown, one that would likely generate huge interest and bring significant financial.
It's dangerous for him to go back in there, and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be on his A game.
Boxing icon Roy Jones Jr. has also weighed in on the imminent rematch. Speaking to pro boxing fans, Jones praised Roach, saying he believes Roach will shock the world once again. However, he also admitted that he expects Davis to make the necessary adjustments to ensure a dominant performance this time around. I think he shocks the world again, but the only thing different this time is Tank will come with a different attitude, a different personality, different motivation. I think Roach will do good again, but I think Tank will be more dominant this time, Jones said. As one of the most electrifying fighters in boxing history, Jones understands the critical importance of making adjustments. If he sees Davis making those changes, it's a strong signal that the former WBA lightweight champion might be ready to leave, no doubt this time.
I think that the next fight is going to be a whole lot better, and I think the next fight is going to end with somebody being on the canvas, in my opinion. But I think that Lamont Roach, I want to give a shout out to Lamont Roach for putting up such a amazing performance. We never seen anyone stand there toe to toe with Gervonta Davis. We never seen anyone there throwing punches, power punches.
Ryan Garcia, a former opponent of Davis, also shared his thoughts on the upcoming rematch. In an interview with ES News, Garcia, who has been vocal about his own ambitions in the lightweight division, said, "I got Tank. I think he'll put on a different gear. I think he just thought it would be easier than it was and thought Roach would fold, and he didn't. Now we should expect a harder fight, and I think he wins the rematch." Garcia's perspective is particularly interesting as he knows firsthand the kind of pressure and power Davis brings into the ring.
You're going to get in the ring, and you're going to have that moment where you got to step it up, and it just won't come. So I think that's
Another fighter who has weighed in on the impending rematch is Rolando "Raleigh" Romero, who was defeated by Davis in May 2022. In an interview with The Ring magazine, Romero, who was knocked out by Davis in the 6th round of their bout, backed his former opponent to emerge victorious in the rematch with Roach. "I'd take Tank because I think Tank will make the necessary adjustments," Romero said. Known for his aggressive style and heavy hands, Romero's prediction reflects the brutal reality of boxing. A fighter as dangerous as Davis, when cornered or doubted, can become even more lethal. Coming from someone who has experienced Tank's power firsthand, Romero's perspective adds weight to the growing expectation that Davis will enter this rematch sharper and more aggressive than before.
He's trying to please the fans, possibly take this fight versus Lamont Roach in a rematch. You know, is it even worth it to please the fans who are going to love you one minute, hate you the next? They're going to love him this minute, they're going to hate him next. Next minute, oh, I don't like it. He can fight Lamont Roach, and they're going to say, well, he's supposed to knock Lamont out if he does win. You know, or if he loses to Lamont, they're going to say, oh, we knew Lamont was better. It's just always is a never-ending story in regards to boxing. You can't
Lamont Roach Jr. have won the bout against Gervonta "Tank" Davis if the moment Tank took a knee had been ruled a knockdown by the referee? Many in the public believe so. Since that controversial fight, there has been a strong push to see the two face off again, this time with a more competent referee. Interestingly, Roach Jr. claims he's already taken steps in that direction. Over the weekend, Roach Jr., who recently moved up to lightweight, forced the Maryland native Davis to go the distance for the first time in 5 fights during their 12-round showdown. Roach outstruck the 30-year-old Davis for much of the bout, including a stunning display in the later rounds. He expected to walk away with the WBA lightweight title, but despite the fireworks, the fight ended in a majority decision draw in New York City.
You could say Tank won. There's no Tank won. There's no way.
Do you think that he's diminished in some way, or do you think that just mentally he just wasn't there for the fight?
Well, a little bit of both. You know, his age is catching up to him. You know, his legs aren't there as he used to be, and you know, he switched his trainer. You know, could be another factor.
Very Allen being the head trainer, and Coach Calvin being outside.
Yeah. But he snapped at Calvin too, so that's, you know, there was something going on. I really don't know.
Since then, both boxers have taken to social media, with the majority of fans and analysts believing that if the knockdown had been properly awarded, there would be a new champion this week. Naturally irritated by these remarks, Davis responded on Twitter, asserting that he was actively pushing for a rematch. Interestingly, Roach Jr. jumped in, claiming Davis was tripping because the rematch was already set. "Forget pushing. My contract is already signed. I'm set for the immediate rematch," Roach Jr. posted, taking more shots at the champion. He also claimed that Davis had included a rematch clause in case he lost the fight. "Only reason we don't fight is 'cause you're scared."
Like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you can see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you can see him wipe his other eye. So it's like it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like
Keyshawn Davis has also thrown his name into the mix, expressing interest in fighting Lamont Roach if Roach is victorious in his rematch with Gervonta Davis. The two are expected to face off again this summer to settle the controversy surrounding their 12-round draw. If he beats Tank, I would love to fight Lamont Roach next. If he beats Tank, there's only one fight to make in the lightweight division, me versus Lamont, Keyshawn Davis told Fight Hype. However, Roach is unlikely to consider a bout with Keyshawn if he defeats Tank, as there's no major financial incentive. Keyshawn isn't as popular, and without a strict rehydration clause to prevent him from ballooning up to over 150 pounds, it wouldn't be a wise risk.
I feel like me and Lamont Roach, stylistically, is the hottest fight in the weight division.
Yeah.
Lamont Roach stood right there with Gervonta. Hardest puncher in the division, right? Ooh. So put him up against me. I'm not going nowhere.
Y'all really gonna boss, man.
We're gonna fight. I feel like stylistically, that's one of the best matchups in the division.
See a lot of rolling in there fight.
You know, I'm already like this motherfucker.
As the fight draws closer, the tension continues to build, with Davis aiming to silence the doubters, and Roach determined to prove that his first performance was no fluke. This rematch promises to be a brutal, high-stakes battle, The stakes are clear: respect, legacy, and the potential for even bigger fights down the line. The gloves will come off in every sense of the word. Bill Haney, the father and head trainer of Devin Haney, recently shared his thoughts on the challenges Gervonta Davis faced in his first encounter with Lamont Roach. In a recent interview on Cigar Talk, Haney reflected on the bout and what it revealed about Tank's vulnerabilities.
It could go left for him. I mean, yeah. I tell Tank that, behind closed doors, if he don't focus up, it can go left for him. But Tank is a true competitor. Tank is a guy that he's scared to lose. So I think that night woke him up at any given moment. You see him already back in the gym. I see him already, he's staying off the internet. So I think he just got to make sure he's focused. Make the right adjustment.
Known for his ferocious power and explosive finishes, Davis finding himself in a tightly contested bout was a significant moment, one that Haney believes others can learn from. "Listen, all the tapes are out. Everything is out," Haney said, emphasizing that the blueprint to beating Davis is now clearer than ever. "We've seen everything. It's out." Haney didn't mince words about what this means for future opponents. For a fighter as dangerous as Davis, being figured out is a dangerous place to be. His mystique as a seemingly unstoppable force took a hit, and Haney was quick to highlight this.
Lamont not big names, big names, so they
Overblow it? I think so, and I feel like people just don't like to think to a point where he don't think because they ain't like him when he feel like he lost or it was broke. So I feel like he was doing a lot of smart things. It was a little bit too much, but I feel like he was like frustrated and everything that day. I think he did his job. He looked sharp to me, I don't know, viewed him. So
Everybody knows that old crazy Bill just ain't crazy no more, he continued. Haney has long been considered one of the sport's most outspoken trainers, often making bold claims about his son's ability to dominate the division. But this time, his words carried a different tone, one of confidence grounded in the reality of what unfolded in the ring. Haney expressed gratitude to Lamont Roach and Team Roach, saying that beating Davis is possible. "And when Tank is not comfortable, Tank is not the Tank that you guys know," he added.